Hello and welcome to the Holy Hour Podcast. It's the All Cure Podcast, and I'm Gavin, and joined by Chaz and Antonio. Hello, fellas. Good to be all back in the same cyber room again.
It is back in the saddle again.
Here we are.
Ride, cowboy.
Woo! Yeah. Well, we have all brought ourselves together today for this very special moment of wrapping up the Shows of a Lost World Tour. We figured we couldn't just end it with a quick commentary on the last show. We have to put all the pieces together here and put all our feelings into some kind of coherent structure and size all this madness up, you know, because there's like a lot of you out there. I feel like there's a lot of different parts to all this. There's the section where we actually saw shows. There's the section of what we analyzed in the beginning and watched from afar, and then, you know, the Cure's perspective we can try to speculate on. How did this whole thing go?
Yeah.
And so yeah, lots of good stuff. And I guess right off the bat, you know, everybody's been talking about the Cure blues. Is it real? What do you think, fellas? What's your vote on that? Was there a period of depression or anything like that?
So I walked in, like I was like floating, like when I got into work that first day, and like I drove from Baltimore, and then I had to work that afternoon. So that kind of sucked, but like I was still excited, and I was excited to tell everybody at work. And then as soon as I walked into work, 5 minutes in, I got like some really bad news from my boss, and it just fucking ruined my day and like the week.
Killed the buzz real quick.
Yeah, totally killed the buzz. Didn't get to talk to anyone about, and then I called off the next day because I was pissed.
Yeah.
So it just like killed everything. So like I didn't get to experience that like really high for very long. But you know, I looked back at some of the pictures, and I think I was missing more of like hanging out with you guys and like the experience, and you know, the concerts were a big part of it, but they were only part of it. So I think I missed that a lot more than like just if I took the segment of just going to see the band
waiting
out,
in line,
you know. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. It was I definitely was like, yeah, it was like I was still high from it, you know. And there was definitely that little bit of the hangover afterwards. And it was funny because it's always one of those things where I'm like, you know, you consume so much of a band. There's always that worry, at least for me, because it's, you know, it's happened many times throughout the year, where then you go to listen to it and you're like, I can't listen to this anymore. I got to put something else on. And I was still like, nope. I was like, you know, like songs were coming on. I was like, it was great when they played this because they came in. It was a little bit faster, but it was like, you know, and I was like, I was still just like in it. And even the kids too. You know, I mean, Elvis is still beaming, like he's still like, you know, how do they still sound this incredible? You know, after all these years, you know, for him being a 12-year-old, you know, learning to be a musician and growing as a guitar player and a singer and everything, he's just so like enamored in that, and me seeing that. I think that was the biggest thing for me is, you know, I was super excited because I've definitely never, I never said it on the podcast, but the guys know this. This was actually my first time seeing The Cure. The Cure has been my favorite bands for a very long time, and life has just always thrown me the curveballs that didn't allow me to either, you know, spend the money, have the time. I was on tour when they were here. I was out of my house at a very young age, so I was on my own, you know, for so long. You know, those kind of tickets, living as a punk rock kid, just couldn't, you know, weren't obtainable for me. So this hit in so many ways for me because I got to see the band for the first time, you know, multiple times I got to finally get in the same room with the three of you guys, and we, well, the three of us, and like, our now strong friendship that was always over the interwebs was just like, that camaraderie. Again, you're right. It was the thing I missed the most about the shows being over, and then in sharing it with my kids and seeing them,
Yeah.
passing on something that I adore to them is like, or even being able to do it with them, period.
Right.
It hit so many marks for me. It was like
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. I'm still reeling, but the last like week, few days, I've been like, ah, all right, I'm not gonna see them in Chicago. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if they're gonna come back.
In
And
South
now the what ifs are
America.
happening. Well,
Yeah.
where is the record? All right, we did, and now I'm back on that. It's like, oh, damn it, the negativity is swooped
Yeah.
back in.
And yeah, it's the reality of cureness, where even
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they are gung ho to get back over here, it's not gonna happen with at least like 4 years probably or something.
Right.
So it's
I'm like, now he's really gonna take his time putting out the fucking album.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to tour on it because he just toured a bunch and played six songs.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think you guys hit it right on the head too when people talk about the post-show blues and stuff. And I think it is a lot of the multiple show people, and you don't really you give the Cure the credit because they're the reason we all came together, but really they're just the glue, and the show's awesome. But that was 2.5 hours of this really cool experience of like hanging out with you guys and getting to pal around like that, like we're goofy teenagers again and stuff. That was like awesome, and that's so fun to do. And you kind of just miss that, and the people meeting these people that we've talked to on the podcast.
And like a lot of that.
together.
I mean, aside from going to like the pre parties, like we were running into people randomly, even like throughout MSG or throughout the, I mean, that in and of itself is like a strange feat. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's almost 20,000 people here, like, and we found you, accidentally. Like that stuff was awesome. It was, it makes the reality so much more real, if that.
And the multiple show thing, on the surface, everyone says, you got to do it for the Cure because the set list, they're not the same every night and stuff, which is 90% true, but at the same time too, the multiple show thing, I think we did great just in the, handful of what we saw, even compared to what a lot of people did the whole damn country, and stuff, or sections of it. But I feel like every show we saw, because of our seats and the mood and the city and wherever, it's its own little memory, which is awesome, because I feel like they're all kind of scattered enough where none of them really blend together. Where if I'd seen 6 shows of the Lemonheads somewhere, it'd been like all the same shit, after show number
I've
3,
definitely done that with
like,
other bands. I when Mineral got back together, I saw them like 3 nights in a row,
so it's
by the third one I was like, I know what song's coming next. I know how this is going to be. The crowd's going to react this way.
Right.
But this was a completely different experience. Every night was a different feel. Different.
Yeah.
I mean, just in Maryland, having Robert less than 10 feet, like just seeing really seeing the expression on Simon's face while he's playing the anger face,
it's
like all of that, just like feeling it and nerding out over like, oh, that's the chord he's playing there, like the musician in me gets really geeky. So it was completely different high every time.
This was like a once in a lifetime thing for us. Like if the Cure came back next year, like we wouldn't be able to do what we did,
not to that degree.
Not to that degree, definitely. Like we don't have, we're not the kind of people that have the kind of money to go wherever, whenever.
We can't Taylor Swift it,
So I don't know how I would feel at the end of that if I did all that. Like I don't know how I would be able to handle that. And if I would just take it for granted by the end of it. So I feel like I probably would. Naturally but it was a once in a lifetime thing. I've never done it with any other band. I've seen a band like multiple nights in a row, but like this was the first time. It was like 5 nights, and a band that size, definitely we're not like Deadheads or anything, so we don't do that sort of shit. So, but
We're not used to it.
yeah, that was like the closest thing I've ever come to anything like that, and it was absolutely amazing. And yeah, seeing everyone and spending it with my son and seeing Antonio's kids react to it, and then seeing Henson through pictures and everything was great. So I know I shot up in my bed when Love Cats was played. When I was following the set list to see what was going to go on and if you were going to get 1,000 hours. Yeah. So yeah, but it was great even living that moment. Just being happy for him. So I was so stoked. So I told my wife, I rolled over, I was like, they're playing Love Cats, and that's Henson's favorite song.
It's like that was mathematically impossible. And they
Yeah. I know. I mean,
awesome.
I would have paid to see his like facial expression change.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was like. 'Cause I just heard like that first little note, and I was like, "No, don't get his hopes up." And I was like, grabbed him, and he was like, "No," and we're just kind of like staring at each other until that first. Where it's like, it sure sounds like it, because he never full on was like, "This is Love Cats." He was like, "We're gonna try this," and then starts with boom, 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 and I was like, "Oh!" So pretty amazing.
I want to acknowledge one more thing before we move on is the work that Gavin put in, and I didn't even notice it until like he got in my car to come up to New York, and this guy fucking pulls out a big ass notebook with Robert's face on it and just starts documenting stuff and like breaking down stuff, and then on the train ride back he's going through his notebook and writing stuff down, and he recorded everything, and he was listening to it back to make sure it was listenable and like going through everything and how meticulous he was and all the time he put into doing the updates that were coming feverishly. I was impressed and definitely I was kind of blown away with what he was doing and how far Gavin was going into this. So I really appreciate it. It was kind of awe inspiring. Just was like, wow, like he's actually putting like this much work into this tour, and when he's not even watching the concerts at that point. So it was. It was pretty awesome, and I don't think everybody understands that and that listens. But Gavin put so much work into this, on top of just going to the shows, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, fearless leader of the clan here.
We sat down to talk. He was all prepared and everything, and I just got done smoking outside, and I'm like, let's talk, and he's just like, so yeah, I definitely appreciate that, and that was really rad. So good job, Gavin.
Thanks, guys.
Pat yourself on the back.
Too kind. Yeah. No, I mean,
you can hear everyone listening clapping right now.
Across the country, just waves.
I wish I could have done it more thorough. Sometimes it got pretty dry just reading, set list and stuff, but it's all you have to work with. But yeah, I just wanted to cover it all. I kept thinking of how cool it would be if we had some kind of podcast documenting every show on the Kissing tour or something, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I just keep
like if somebody did a tour diary or anything. That's why I think like Henry Rollins was like, I mean, not that I'm comparing you to him or anything, but like,
what do you mean?
Like the tour diary stuff is amazing, and I wish that
absolutely
it was done more often. And I know you're not part of the band, but as a fan, it's pretty awesome. So
I was actually thinking that last night when I was at Irving Plaza, watching Elvis and he was having a great time, and then thinking about the Cure shows and stuff. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna buy him a specific hardcover notebook. I'm gonna tell him, cover this thing with stickers, and I want you to start documenting all the shows you go to. Yeah. You're 12 right now, and I think back to some of the memories. I'm like, when was that show? Where was it?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, you're already the nerd that I know you are because like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you have what I have. You
Embrace
have
it.
the itis. Start documenting this. Write down how you felt afterwards. Write down what songs were cool in the set. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
start doing that now, man. And you're gonna have such an amazing thing to look back on as you get older. You know, I wish someone would have told me to be more conscious of holding on to the flyers or the
Oh
or
yeah,
even the or
absolutely.
tour booklets. And you know, I mean
yeah,
that went away even when we were younger, but still, a lot of
Stickers,
that, yeah, a
yeah.
lot of that stuff
obscure
is gone.
bands. Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't even have the
just put
ticket
it.
stubs anymore. You know, we used to
Yeah,
have
right.
that. You
Yeah,
know, it's
exactly.
like
Because that was our thing
it's a,
that we would hold on to for so long as the ticket stubs. You know.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm like
yeah. That's a good
document
idea.
this shit, man. I mean, you know, when he's in his like mid 20s, you could probably write a pretty fucking rad book. You
Cool.
know, like
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and be like, I saw this band like 5 years before they
Uh,
were big at this
yeah.
club, and like there were like 10 people there. So
Yeah,
Totally.
because
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
when I tell him those stories, I'm like, I wish I had more information from you. Like, yeah, when I played with My Chemical Romance, yeah, it was like it was at a college, and you know, it was like there was this many of us, and like we did this, we hung out outside. You know, I didn't know I was standing next to probably the next fucking biggest band.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't
it's
know I was
yeah.
playing with guys that were gonna like redefine Hot Topic. You know,
totally.
like
Yeah.
and those days were fun, but you know, again, there was no cell phone cameras. A lot of that wasn't documented that way.
Yeah, yeah,
But even with
Yeah.
technology, you know, like your phone crashes. Did I have those photos saved? You know,
yeah.
like
Could
take
be
that, keep that
anyone.
notebook at home. When you get home at night after these shows, just write down how you're feeling, what went down, what songs stood out, what you know, what did they come out to that was cool, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, I wish I
yeah,
would have done that too. But you know, you don't really think of these things when you're young and you don't have a parent looking out, for
yeah.
you like
Yeah.
that, back then. So
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was the cutest thing, even like, you know, like last night, you know, in these concert experience with, you know, my 12-year-old who's going to be taller than me in probably a year. He hugs me. He's like, you know, thanks for protecting me too, you know, because, you know, when the crowd's getting a little rowdy, I like had my arms out around
Yeah.
him and this, that, and the other. And, you know, it was just, you know, he felt, you know, safe and secure. And I'm like, oh, cool. My mom, first concert, she took me to see Peter, Paul, and Mary, you know,
that's
like,
hot.
like
Yeah.
I needed more protection,
There.
like like in
Totally.
a different way
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
than that, you know, or
Yeah,
so
rolling out that kind of stuff definitely makes you enjoy it a lot more too when you're not looking over your shoulder and worried about getting slammed or you can
yeah.
actually enjoy the show and remember what's going on. So, and as much fun as documenting all this is, I guess to wrap up the tour blues and start before we get into stats and stuff, I guess there is a small part of me that is relieved that it's done and I can just enjoy the memories now. And we can go back to the bi-weekly being actually once every other week and not twice a week episodes. Because it was a little nerve-wracking at times where I knew I had to like crunch them in and get episodes out and all that jazz. But so it'll be nice just to go back to even before I recorded the Miami one with Henson. I was like, whole week's gone by, man. I was like, I feel like I'm letting everyone down. The tour's over. I need to get something recorded. I was like, oh, it's only been a week, man.
I need another fix.
Yeah, so it'll be kind of nice now when it seems like everything's moving real slow. So yeah, but I guess just looking at the tour from a whole, from everyone's perspective, there's no real way I could say it would be considered other than a huge success for the band, right? It seems like all the shows went off without any major snags that we saw as fans anyway. And
Yeah, no cancellations for
no
health or
cancellations.
it being too cold.
Yeah, or no one got too cold. I think the closest we got was in LA of some kind of, maybe they weren't feeling great, but they still played, wonderfully. And
Yeah.
I don't even know how confirmed that a lot of that was, but just like colds or something. But didn't miss a step. Definitely didn't cancel anything. Eden didn't get to play a show even. So turned out, the turnouts seemed good. I didn't see any huge sections of any of the shows we were at where there was
yeah,
robots,
absolutely not.
empty
Yeah.
spaces for the robots. We definitely had some speculations at times, but I guess it was just people all stuck in the merch lines and stuff. By the time the gear was usually out, it was filled in pretty good. I think most of them, pretty much all the shows were sold out. So, so no obvious gaps there. Even the Ticketmaster miss, in hindsight, at the end of it all, it's not the perfect formula, like we said in the past, to do this for every concert probably, but I think everybody that really wanted to go to a show was probably at that show or got there. You know, I think it's like anything in life where it depends on how much you give a shit. If you got totally shafted by, you know, we got tickets for the third night, like that morning. So, I mean, it was possible.
They were just above. No, they were face value because I got them off Ticketmaster. So, you know, I don't like, there was a bunch of complaining.
Yeah.
And, you know, people angry. And it was just, you know, I get it. It was overreaction, though. I think just about everyone. I mean, there were people that like gave up on, you know, once they heard Ticketmaster was involved.
Yeah.
And I get that, too. But at the same time, it was like, I don't know. It wasn't as hard as like everybody thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And, you know,
and even
we
with
didn't
tickets getting in and stuff. Like that wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was annoying that we did have to stress about it up until the minute of them scanning our ticket. But at the same time,
Philadelphia was the only one that might have sucked. I don't think any other city. There might have been one other one that was kind of like that. That the venue sold their own tickets through there, and they're strict on, you know, non-transferable tickets. So that was probably one of the only ones that people were freaking out about, which I kind of get. But other than that, I mean, in the prices that we paid,
it's
I like for a band that size, and you know what it cost us. You know, it was. It would have been like one Depeche Mode show, or you know,
I was just gonna say that.
Shows.
Yeah, it was like me going to the second show and me taking my wife and my 2 kids to show 1. So you know, 5 tickets was the same as 2 tickets to Depeche Mode at MSG. For me and Melissa, you know, and then you know the merch,
affordable.
I am still beyond like
$25 for a shirt.
I mean, being in marketing and dealing with music festivals all the time and stuff through work, and sponsoring bands and shows and things, it blew my mind. I mean, you know, I'm not going to shit on certain bands. I get that they have to do what they have to do and charge what they are charging for their shirts because it's the only way they can keep going. So, you know, some of it I understand. I understand that you know, Live Nation, the venues are taking percentages from them. But I seeing way lesser bands charging $40 for a t-shirt when The Cure was charging $25. I'm hoping this is opening eyes to the bigger ones.
Exactly.
This battle against Ticketmaster and this battle against gouging prices for the merchandise, you know, it doesn't need to be there for these bigger ones, the bigger people. You know, the bigger, like the smaller guy I know needs more help. And I get that they're not making shit off streaming. They're not, you know, they can't afford to press vinyl. They don't have CDs to get them through. You know, selling CDs used to get me through tour. So I get it. Now it's the t-shirts. And I know it's more expensive to make a t-shirt, so I get it. But $25 for a t-shirt and $50 for a hoodie, multiple color, front and back.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, I want to kiss the man's fucking feet, and I'm not even into that, you know?
Like, I think I've seen so many pictures of like bigger bands and their merch setups, like bands the size of The Cure, you know, or in that ballpark, and you see T-shirts that are double that price or like $40, and like, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing to your fans?
Ridiculous.
And like, and I'm like. I'm like, hey, can you pick me up a shirt? Like, send me a picture. And they'll send me a picture, and I'm like, I'm not paying that much for a t-shirt. Get the fuck out of here. Like, I'll pay $30 maybe.
And I always heard it's like the venue takes a huge cut and everything. So maybe they did eat some of the, you know, whatever. I can't imagine that they must have worked some
I'm
kind
also
of deal,
wondering if that was part of his negotiation.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you can negotiate that stuff too. But like also like how many merch booths they had. Figure how many people had to be paid to man those. Like at MSG alone, you probably had 25, 35 people working on selling the merch alone that had to get paid for that night. So it's crazy
it's
when you're at that magnitude. you know.
But they did it great. Those workers, I mean, they do it all day. You know, that's
Yeah,
you know, they do that
Yeah.
all the time. But like, it was fast and efficient for the most part for just about every venue I was at.
Not Miami,
But yeah,
unfortunately.
I can't. I would love to see the numbers on T-shirts sold, and I would love to
Yes.
see, you know, because they definitely got a break on mass production.
Yeah.
So, you know, their cost was semi low on that, but the you know, we'll get into it, but the amount of money they made is astronomical.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
we
kept it
Yeah.
low. Like
And
yeah.
I'm pretty sure so again, knowing how a lot of this works and then knowing some of the inner workings, because I have a lot of friends that are in the, merch selling business for
Mhm.
bands. I know, for instance, there have been some bands where they have another trailer with them, and after the nights, when they look at what was sold, they have another truck that gets to the next venue beforehand and is
Hmm.
pressing more
Yeah.
shirts,
Yeah. Yeah.
literally
Yep.
in a trailer and loading it
Wow.
and loading it into the merch booth. Like it's that the merch is the way that the bands are making most of their money, and they're figuring out ways to make sure that they're not running out of sizes, that they're not over ordering and then sitting on stuff after the fact.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would not doubt if that was going on, or if those numbers were getting sent into someone, they were being made that same day and
Shipped.
overnighted, I guess
Yeah.
maybe. But I mean, everybody was buying merch, and they're
Yeah.
Yeah.
buying. No, I don't even think I saw one person buy one individual thing. Everyone bought more than one item.
Right.
I
That
was
was
standing next to you.
And
I just bought a
then-
poster, man.
Yeah.
well, but you had already bought a bunch of stuff the night before.
Yeah.
You're a repeat offender.
I was more into the bootleg stuff, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He's swindling the one-tooth guy at
Yeah.
Yeah, he swindled me. I tried
He
that
did
shirt
swindle
on 2
you.
days ago, and dude,
How's
it's
it
like
fitting?
fat guy in a little coat, man.
Yeah, I know. I might have to buy it off you.
I was afraid to breathe. I gave it to Jonas already. I'm sorry.
Awesome. But yeah, and not to mention the fact that the merch shit's still going. I ordered
Oh,
a ton
yeah,
of shit
it's-
after the last
Yeah,
show.
I mean,
I
I'm on
might order some more. I hope supplies last.
The t-shirts and the t-shirts and everything, they're going to be available. The posters are the ones that are going to be out of
Yeah.
stock. But yeah, the one thing that I was sort of blown away with was, besides the prices, was, you go see a band,
Mhm.
and I don't care what size they are. Like, when you go see them, usually the merch booth empties out, and like, because everybody's watching the band.
Yeah.
And I went out to go get something to drink at Merriweather, and it was right before the first intermission. That merch booth, the line was still backed up.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
still backed up. People were still waiting in line just to get something. And take that for what it's worth, but like, that's amazing, because
crazy.
if I want to get merch from a band, I usually go when they're playing and there's a song that I don't like, or the other band's playing and everybody's watching them.
Right.
But this was continuous. Like, and I didn't really walk out during MSG, but I'm sure the lines were still pumping
Yeah.
yeah, so very cool. Good for them. But yeah, you want to get into the money?
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah. Let's read off some of those numbers.
Since we're talking money, then we'll get into actual show specifics and stuff. But some of that money stuff came up just recently with the Billboard.com article by Eric Frankberg. So this is all based on him. I don't know how. I'm assuming it's pretty valid if it's Billboard,
Yeah,
the one talking this. But they just, talked about how much they earned on this whole tour: $37.5 million for this tour. And that's from 547,000 tickets sold. So this is just the North American tour that we just saw too. So yeah, I mean, that not including merch, like we're saying.
oh my God, I didn't. I thought that included
merch.
Jesus Christ! I thought that
know,
actually included merch.
No, yeah, they don't have access to that numbers. The Cure would have to give them.
Yeah.
probably.
Because this is 11 less shows even than the European tour, so it was double what they made in 2016. In 2016, they made 18 million, so more than double
Really?
that. Yeah.
How many concerts were on that?
On the
that
2016 one, that I
Yeah.
don't have. It was probably pretty close, if not.
Tour? It's about the same, I think,
Yeah.
or close to it.
If not more, even on that one. So yeah, so I mean, this one I think definitely sold out more shows than 2016. I felt like 2016 there was a few that were borderlining on not quite as full as they wanted it to be, but so yeah, that's a pretty awesome that they doubled it. Was
How
more
many
than,
tickets did you say they sold?
547,000. I think
Okay.
I rounded on that one, but it's definitely 547. Might have been a few extra in there too.
How much do you think the average person spent on merch?
At least,
on merch. I'm gonna say that average has got to be. It has to be 50 or more, probably.
Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
got to be more than 50.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
I
only
mean,
two
I
t-shirts.
guess,
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking there's a
everybody
lot of
bought
people
it.
that just bought a poster. There's a lot of people
Just-
that just bought a T-shirt, probably.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you probably. I'd say 75, maybe. is
Yeah,
the
playing it
middle
safe, but yeah.
to play it safe. Let's just.
That's if I did 65. That's $35 million just in merch.
It's almost as much on merch, which gotta make sense.
That's
And-
I'm
but-
telling you, merch is
but
the
that
whole
doesn't-
game.
That
Merch
doesn't
is-
include any online stuff
Yeah,
because there
that's
were
still
people dropping
going,
out of the
so it's-
line, and they
And
were
just
like, "I'll
ordering
just
it
buy
online.
this online.
Yeah.
I'll just order it online."
You're right. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then that's not getting a percentage taken by the venue.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's pretty much pure profit, other than who you're paying to make and ship.
Right. And they're also
So-
calling it pre-order. I mean, some of the posters, they probably have the amount made, but the shirts, I guarantee you, it's just calculating what sizes they need to make, and then they're making
Trading
shipping them.
cards, $10 trading cards.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
this fucking Barry Bonds rookie card?
Yeah, you know, looking at hobby shops to try to find a trading card display for when they do finally show up 6 years from now, and it's gonna be awesome.
No, you're gonna need to go to like a baseball card convention.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. But I'm my guess is overall, I'm gonna say they made about $40 million just in merch.
In profit.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, probably just in profit.
Just yeah. 'cause-
I mean, there's a
It
lot.
depends how much they paid the venue, but I'm assuming that they kept it down to $25. It wasn't that much.
Yeah. So, when they broke it down further, it was the 3 LA shows were the top one with 4.9 million for the 3 shows in LA. The 3 in MSG brought in 4.1 million. Nightly attendance never dipped below 12,000, but the average was 15,600.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. And then the coolest stat out of all of that was kind of buried near the end of that article, where it had a little chart and it said this was the second highest attended Cure North American tour ever, only behind 1989 for Disintegration. So now, so they had higher attendance for this than the Wish tour and everything else, I guess, in between. So it's crazy.
I imagine
amount
the
that they're
Disintegration
populating.
tour was a lot longer, though, right?
In North America, maybe not, but at the same time, playing maybe smaller places. No, I don't know. There's bigger.
No, they
right?
played. Yeah, they played like the Rose
but
Bowl. And
maybe
shit like that.
maybe it was fewer stadiums were available and shit. I don't know back in '89, but I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to put how many dates and stuff.
Come on,
there's
Gavin.
a lot.
yeah, you didn't crunch those numbers?
No, this is getting way too mathy for me here.
Come on, Rain Man, let's get it together.
But still pretty fucking impressive, no matter how much you put it.
Oh, yeah.
and even with
Yeah.
ticket sales and stuff, you're looking at the tickets cost a lot more than they did even in 2016, even though they did do a good job of keeping them cheaper. But at the same time too, that's impressive that all this money, how much they brought in, and they were keeping it lower. Imagine if they'd blown it up the way they probably could have on some of these, or maybe more people bought them because they were affordable, and if they had been more Depeche Mode-esque, then nobody would have bothered to fucking go.
Oh yeah, we probably would have gone to one. We would have probably gotten together and been
One
like,
or two.
let's go to one.
Yeah.
I think that I'm trying to remember. I think New Order and Pet Shop Boys was a little bit cheaper. It was a little cheaper than Depeche Mode when I went to Barclay, but again, it was definitely more than these Cure
Wow.
tickets.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was this year. I know it's hard comparing 2016 to now,
Yeah.
but I mean, I still feel like we're not that far away.
Yeah.
Where
It's-
I mean, how much has inflation risen since 2016?
Right. That's why
You
like
know
the
what I mean? Like,
1989 stat might have a little more
right,
shit
the
that we're
89 stat's a
missing,
little
but
harder to swallow those numbers because you're like, oh well, this was
a
that, and
lot of shit's changed.
so
Yeah.
shit's changed drastically. You made $1 million back then, it's like making fucking 3 million now.
But
You know?
even in 2016, I think face value ticket for MSG, I think I paid like without the fees, I think it was 65 or 70 for the lower level.
Mhm.
And this time, how much was it? It was like 80, 85.
Something
And
like
then,
that, yeah.
with the fees, it came out to like one something, but we got that little rebate back.
Yeah.
But,
Well, that's something that's definitely almost tripled is the
yeah,
convenience fee.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like if you remove the convenience fee and you look at the actual ticket price, like
Yeah. Because that was kind of the pisser when we were looking at the day of tickets was all the ones, other than the face value stuff, but did that have like an extra Ticketmaster on top of that too, though? I felt like those were pretty much what it was.
Through where? Through StubHub,
it was like $50 or something right on top of it all. So.
Well, no, it depended what ticket, because you had to check which ticket, because some of them didn't have. No, that was for Ticketmaster, some of them you had to check because some of them had the convenience fee paid already, and some of them didn't.
Which I assumed were like ones that just never sold, those side back ones, and then you would get the service fee on top of those. But if it was somebody exchanging them back, then you didn't have to pay that. So, the average ticket price though was $68 for.
All of it.
Yeah,
all right.
So,
I mean,
which is
you got to factor in lawn
pretty
tails
all those
in that
lawn
too.
ones in, and those
yeah.
bleeds, I guess, helped balance it out for the higher priced ones.
But still, there are concerts that I've wanted to go to. Like I just looked to go see Weezer in New York, and nosebleeds were $115.
Jesus.
So even if you're talking lawn and nosebleed, it was still coming in less than the Weezer,
Fucking
way less than the Weezer ticket.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And as a greedy capitalist, I'm like, look at all the money they left on the table.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's what I mean.
As a non-greedy capitalist, I'm like, they made more money than I'll ever make in my whole life going across the country once. And they were kind enough to their fans to make it monetarily accessible to at least everyone to go to at least one.
Yeah.
And that's respectful, especially in this day and age when they probably could have charged double, triple, and we would have paid it.
Yeah.
For at least one.
They easily could have doubled their money without, and it still would have not been as crazy as some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Kudos, thank you.
And then one of the last nice stats is that in the top 50 touring highest grossing acts or whatever so far this year, only one band, the 1975, had tickets that averaged lower, $68 or lower. So all the other ones, their average was like way higher. So that's and then they said even with that band, it's because most of these dates are in Europe and it isn't as ridiculous over there. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Credit to the Cure again there too. And then just a funny from my own humor value of that article, they had, I don't even know why they really took this angle, but they compared it to Janet Jackson's tour that's going on, I guess right now maybe. And without even really making the full connection that there's past Janet Jackson this with the Cure. The reason why they never got to number one with Love Song was because Missy Much was cock blocking it and out in the number one spot.
Great song.
And then she got inducted into the Hall of Fame the same night as the Cure.
Yep.
So a lot of Janet Jackson crossover, but they were comparing that it was like, they both have half a century almost worth of songs. They both really blew up in the 80s into the 90s, so they've been playing for over 3 decades.
Yeah, like their peak was late 90s.
Yeah,
and they both haven't released a studio album in how long?
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
interesting comparison.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, wow. I'm like, who thought to pull that stat? Like, and make the, you know what I mean? I was like, kudos to
it was impressive.
That was way far fetched.
So yeah, pretty interesting, especially that factor. They haven't put out a new album in forever, either of them, but they're still getting.
That's the thing that's amazing.
That's pretty cool because if they're coming close to their biggest albums tour in attendance and they haven't even put out an album in the last, maybe he's like, maybe we should never put out the. What's the incentive now? They're only gonna, when we put out albums, people stop coming to the shows. So let's move on away from the numbers then, and then just get into the actual performances that they put on at these shows, because the idea that when we're saying that they were really kind to the fans, it didn't stop with the pricing and the fact that they didn't cancel the shows. Like we said, they didn't phone in. There was no examples of anyone saying, yeah, it looks like he's just kind of going through the motions up there. He's going through every emotion up there and delivering
every night.
Fucking amazing performances, all 35 shows, it seems like. So that's definitely worth noting, that it was not only check the box that we played in this city, but they really performed at it. And some cool stats, I guess, for the actual sets. 35 shows. Like we said, that's 11 less than the European tour. They averaged 29 songs at each show. Chicago and New York had the most. New York Night 3 with 31 songs. Tampa got the least at 27 that last night, right before the last show.
Any reason why?
No, no one's really said. I didn't want to speculate that they were just like, all right, we're about ready to wrap this thing up. It was just kind of, cut short. They cut like 6 different ways out of the pop encore, but didn't replace it with something else. Usually they would play something else there.
Wow.
So yeah, it was just kind of like but I've seen a few clips from it and it looked like awesome performance of every song. It wasn't like he was checking his watch or anything. So who knows? I kept hoping somebody from Tampa might let us know what was going on there. But I mean, it's still only like 2 songs short. It wasn't like they got gypped.
I wonder when doors were and when it ended.
Yeah, it might have been something like that.
There might have, certain areas have certain restraints on like when it has to end by.
Yeah, the curfew thing.
Get everybody out of there.
Yeah, and then it's like one of those things where, do you really want to force the Twilight Sad to go on, 15 minutes earlier as people are still stumbling through the gates, or do you want to cut a song or two,
or even just had to go to the bathroom a little longer in between the encore. So we're like
Reeves,
that's I know.
Give me a break. Fucking disappeared.
Reeves looked over and was like, "You got this, bro. This is why we got you here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Wait, what?
I got some BGs going on."
Let's see, 56 songs played total. So that's
really rad.
Quite a fucking set to be prepared. None of them seemed like they were fumbling through it or making it up on the spot. 6 more songs than they got in Europe. So we got 6 different ways.
Fuck you, Europe.
Yeah, well, they'll get us back here.
Shows. We got extra songs.
I tried to make it fair here, so they get us back here in a second. I'll let you know. But so we got 6 different ways, 1,000 hours, another new song, another Happy Birthday, Love Cats, Like Cockatoos, and It Could Never Be the Same. They didn't play any of those in Europe. But then in Europe, they played Figurehead, Drowning Man, and Faith on numerous nights. So we didn't get those, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But we're more depressed over here.
I know. That's what he thought they would appreciate.
Well, maybe
it more,
he was just too scared. Like,
Yeah.
Like they're too depressed over here. Let's not do that.
That's a stat that I would love to see. Like, what other band that's touring currently that plays, let's say, an average of 2.5 hours has had that many songs in the collective repertoire of what they're playing on the tour. That has to be the most.
You'd have to find a band that's going to play 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes.
There's not too many.
You're paying $68 average a ticket, and you're getting 2 concerts worth of material.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, this is all
Um,
kind of stuff that even people that aren't Cure fans, like this is stuff that needs to get like recognized just by music in general.
Yeah.
Like it's great that Billboard's writing that article, but like no, you know what? Like Brooklyn Vegan and even some of the smaller ones were writing articles on him battling, Ticketmaster for sure.
Yeah.
But like what I find strange is like, it was the biggest headline in the world when fucking Pearl Jam was trying to do it,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, and all this stuff. And so it was more quiet than I thought. I think it's only because I'm a music head and I follow enough stuff that I saw it. But I'm like, that should have been a fucking major, Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
fucks everybody in the ass with her ticket price, and it's all over the fucking news. Robert Smith's
Yeah.
fights are the little people, and it's not on the major news. It's just
Yeah.
being written in music. You know what I mean? I was like, really? Like,
Yeah.
why is that not getting more?
And
you know,
yeah, and I don't know. Maybe on
attention?
some level it is paying off in the sense that based on the attendance of these shows, that every level of Cure fan was kind of like, now's the time. I got to go to this show. Like I'm sure there's a billion
Yeah.
factors, but the fact that he is cool, he hasn't tarnished his legacy in any way, and it's kind of like,
No, not at all.
we heard a lot of stories of people too that, had seen him back in like fucking Prayer Tour or Wish Tour and hadn't seen him since. But then this tour, they did come back, and stuff like that. So, I mean, there probably is a lot to that where the recognition and seeing these things like, oh yeah, he does give a shit, and it's not that he's like some 65-year-old man up there just kind of getting his last few in before he calls it a night. It's like, no, these are still real performances from a real band that are doing really good shows. So yeah, it's pretty rad. Let's see what else. 5 new songs were played every night, and those sounded great. And of course, it was awesome to see those up front. Fragile Thing was the only one that got cut in Cleveland, but I believe that might have been one of the rain delay ones too. So that might have been something why they cut that one just the one time. The 6th new song, Another Happy Birthday, got played 4 times, all 3 nights in LA, and then in Seattle, and then never came back. So a little odd, but I could see it wasn't like the biggest. We have to plug this into the set as a real downer one, so it probably didn't really need it in the set list. So maybe they just figured the flow. It was fun just to drop it in there to give everybody a little taste of another new one. But so yeah, that was odd that didn't get played again. But we did get, if you count, It Can Never Be the Same as a new song still, then that one did get thrown into the mix too. Quite a bit, 25 times by the end of the tour. So
wow. Yeah.
that's pretty cool. I guess if we break down the rarest tracks, just to blow through some more jibber jabber real quick, there was a handful of songs they only played once. They played Love Cats once, obviously, at the last show. Hanging Garden only got played once. M only got played once. And then that third night in New York, Jumping Someone Else's Train and Grinding Halt. Those two, I kind of feel like they always just have them so burned in their head they could just play them whenever they're feeling frisky.
Probably.
But the other ones, I mean, I guess all of them probably are that way for the Cure, but same time, it's odd that they would just play it the one time. It's not like M would ever go over, oh, that was awkward. So I guess they just didn't have enough time or placement for it. Only played 3 times, was Closed Down and Like Cockatoos, Hot, 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 and Trust. So pretty minimum. If you caught those, you were lucky. And 4 times, The Hungry Ghost. So if you were lucky enough, like us, to catch The Hungry Ghost, one of 4 times, then 5
Lucky.
times. 5 times they played Primary, 39, and Let's Go to Bed. And we'll stop at 6. 6 times we only heard Fascination Street 6 times, which is pretty crazy.
Wow.
On the Cure tour. Fascination Street, 3 Imaginary Boys in 100 years. So... And of course, the big rarities, 1,000 Hours, which totally started out strong on the West Coast. They played it pretty much every goddamn show. But by the time they got to our final shows, all 6 of mine didn't get to see this
Gavin.
dream song I've been talking about forever, wanting to hear live. But 11 times out of 35 they did play
You definitely need to edit some violins into the background when you say that.
So we got Trust that last night, which is a good alternate. I feel like if you are gonna swap it out for something, at least Trust was a comparable one. But it would have been so cool to hear that. At least there's lots of good YouTube footage now, so I can rely on that. Cold started out real strong too, where it was looking like it was gonna be in every set. It was like started out, I think, first 5 shows in a row. Then after San Francisco, it started to alternate, and then just totally died out by Detroit was the last one that they played it 9 times total.
I was really hoping we'd hear it that night that they played 100 Years.
Yeah, that would have been cool in that encore.
Yeah, I was really hoping it'd come in there, but nope.
Yeah, a couple of times when they played at night, I think they could have swapped in Cold. That would have fit good, But so let's see the bonus ending of the extended ending. They did that, 5 times. So, which is pretty cool. When I look on paper, that was more than I thought. Vancouver got one where they ended it with 10:15 and killing an Arab. Vancouver, then Chicago, Montreal, night 2, New York, night 3, and the Miami show. And, that's when they played the extras. 17 songs were played at all 35 shows. So kind of the obvious ones when you read them off. But 4 of those were the new songs. And then Pictures of You, Love Song. Burn made it to every show again. Push was on every show. Forest, of course. Edge of the Deep Green Sea. Lullaby. Walk. Friday I'm in Love. Close to Me. In Between Days. Just Like Heaven, Boys Don't Cry. So no real surprises there, but those were the consistents through every show. Not too many of those I think would switch out to maybe the Walk by next time around. I don't think they need to play that at every show, even though it was sounding surprisingly cool to all of us in the 5 that we saw together.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about the last of the just looking at set list stats I had, but so pretty cool that they did switch it up that much enough where we could do something like that even,
Yeah.
Like we're saying. On top of that, like we're saying, it was just cool that a lot of people either got to see them for the first time or come back and see them again. We've mentioned that a few times in these recap episodes, but even just after that Miami show, we hit up a record shop or 2 before catching the flight out of there. There was a really cool guy working in Technique Records, and I think it was North Miami by that point when we were heading north. He saw Henson and I in our Cure shirts, and as soon as we came in the door, he's like, "We only got one Cure record. Quit going through the seas." See you later. We stood out, apparently. So, but then we got talking because he went to the show, and he was just saying that it was, he'd seen them a bunch of times since Wish, and it was the best show that he had seen, so that was cool that that's carried over from the European ones and from the 2016
I think
ones.
my question is, what was the one Cure record that he had in the show?
Oh, it was a good one too. It was the Happily Ever After combo, 17 Seconds in Faith. So, yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
Did you buy it?
Nah, I already got like 2 of those.
Okay.
I got a shitty
How
one.
much was it?
It was, I didn't even look at it. I think it was about like 30 or 40 something probably. So
Okay.
it was,
Yeah.
But I didn't even look at it. I got talking to him more about it though, so it was cool because he was down and saying a lot of his friends thought the same way, that it was the best Cure show they had seen, and then I gave him a little Holy Hour sticker, and he put it right on the counter there, so that was nice.
Oh,
so check out Techniques Records. They definitely had some good stuff there. So even though I didn't buy anything, it's nice when you go to a record shop and you can just admire. I guess we could start to wrap up then with just what's in store for us and the Cure. What do we have on the horizon as we all merge from our hangover into the future here? And I guess as far as the Cure, they got till September. Was it September 17th? Thought I wrote it down somewhere for the Riot Fest there.
Yeah.
So a lot of people already plotting to see how they can get into the Riot Fest. Big festival thing. Definitely not on my to-do list. And I would, gladly go if somebody sent me, but otherwise I'm not going. You guys, any plans?
Yeah, if you want to pay for my airfare and the ticket and the
sponsor me or something, sure, I'll go. But otherwise, festival thing. It's hard to say. It'll be cool to see what carries over from this specific Lost World theme that we've been seeing.
Yeah.
Will they do
I mean,
the
if
new
I
song?
win Mega Millions next week,
Yeah, we're
Hell
trying.
yeah, brother. We're all
I will
going.
buy
We
tickets
all
for
go.
all of us.
Hell yeah.
All
We're
our
taking a
listeners are
fucking
going.
helicopter.
Yeah, so we've been trying that too the past couple nights, but it's not working so far. I even did an
Yeah.
all Cure themed numbers that I chose. It didn't work. So. But
I would, yeah. I mean,
because you got
I'm-
Miami Connect or Chicago connection, right? You used to live out
yeah,
there.
I lived out there for a while, and like I would love, like there would be a lot of people I'd like to see, and like I wouldn't probably have to pay for a place to stay, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah, same. I could crash on my buddy's
Yeah.
couch, but it's still
I would
flight,
yeah.
food,
The time away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably, if I win, I would probably only go on Sunday
Right.
for The Cure. But like, there's other bands I would like to watch. Like on that Sunday, there's Gaslight Anthem, Godspeed You
Yeah.
Black Emperor.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe AFI. Thursday's playing.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal lineup all the way around.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Like-
I'm not big on like a lot of the headliners.
Yeah.
But
But I'm just saying, like, for putting together 3 days in Chicago,
oh yeah,
it's very impressive across the board, and I think it hits all the, it hits everybody without being cheesy.
Yeah,
like,
they used to
yeah.
do that shit in Philadelphia too. It used to be, I think it used to
Yeah.
be Philadelphia, Chicago, and Colorado, Denver. I think it might have been, and now it's just shrunk down to Chicago. I think so.
yeah,
It's funny,
which
just
sucks,
totally
but,
fucking dawned on me. Maybe this was obvious to everybody else by this point, but now how we're all bitching only one night in Chicago on this tour, everyone's like, that's weird, that's weird. This is the other night, probably. They knew they were coming back to Chicago for this festival.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah, that's true.
that makes sense. That makes
yeah.
sense.
Not
Yeah.
that it totally
I mean,
counts,
again, they're not going to play for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
not quite the same, but at the same time, in their heads, it's probably like a fucking city, in the U.S. So, yeah, well, we definitely will cover it, though, and I'm curious to see what they bring to the table. I saw somebody posted on one of those Facebook things that they had a sibling or something that works in a storage facility out there, and all the Cure shit arrived. Like, I'm assuming it's all like the stage, screens and production shit, and not their guitars and shit. But so they're in a warehouse
Perry's
now,
just in there.
waiting. Yeah, Perry. No. So they have their stuff there. It had their
Yikes.
stickers, those pictures of it, and pretty cool.
Very
so
cool.
ready to roll. Not too far off now, I guess, just a couple months. And then off to South America for those dates, which those festivals definitely are more my kind of jams and stuff. There's like one where I think it's the Mexico City one where like Pulp and Blur and all those bands are playing. I'm like, oh man. I already got Henson hitting KC up for our next vacation should be around. I was like, yeah, we got to make the boy happy. So I'm not sure we're going to pull off that one.
Let's see what he experienced in his life. Yeah, I would fucking love to go to a South American show.
Totally.
That shit's got to be fucking
Oh,
wild.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, they're playing in Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Colombia. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'd go to the Brazilian one because I see how those motherfuckers are at fucking soccer games.
Yeah, they're
I
gonna-
can only imagine, like, or that what's that famous like live that Slipknot DVD that came out 1,000,000 years ago in Brazil. It was like the first time I
familiar
was
with
like,
that one.
yo, he made how many people jump the fuck up at once? And I was like, damn, I'm like, that's all of Brazil.
Yeah, play
Yeah.
for today is going to be off the charts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
I don't think anybody will be sitting down. Nobody's gonna be
Nah.
sitting there using their phone.
Those are all festivals too, I believe. So again, cool. But they seemed like less. I don't know. I didn't really get the full if they're mega festival style, or if it's just like kind of a handful of bands more. But that goes all the way into December. I think the last one in Colombia is on December 10th. So that just leaves October really to rest up, maybe release an album for Halloween. That would be kind of cool. But are we
That'd be
back to
cool.
that now? Are we back?
We are definitely back to that.
Back to the album?
Are we predicting it's going to be out this year or next year?
Jesus Christ, I can't even make a prediction anymore. I've had a few people like just text me on the side. So, what do you think of the? I'm like, really? I have no idea, dude. It's like every prediction I've had is.
Yeah, my friend Tim sent me a text message like a couple days ago. He's just like, "Are those new songs they played? Are they going to be on like a new album? And is that going to come out anytime soon?" And I was just like, "Yes," and I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like if it comes out, it'll definitely have those on there. So, yeah, I don't know. I've started to lean more into the idea of like just put out a 6-song live EP of those. You know, that would be totally fine. Find the 6 best recordings of those and put it out live at this point. You know, as long as it's mixed good and sounds good, then
Yeah,
I can't imagine. We're all so fucking used to it now. They've kind of backed themselves into a corner with that in the sense that if they drastically change it up, you know, than the way it was recorded or anything, or if it just sounds slightly weird, it might be kind of dangerous because we're so used to hearing these live ones now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
here's another side note, though, that I was kind of noticing. I don't feel like there weren't many interviews or press coverage during this tour at all.
Yeah, none. I don't think they
Like,
did any
yeah, I don't think there
interviews.
was
yeah.
anything.
My wife reached out to not Simon. I wish Simon. No, reached out to Roger, and he got back to her, and because she was trying to set up like an interview for us, like unbeknownst to me, she didn't tell me until like afterwards. But and Roger kindly got back to her and said thank you and everything, but also said that like we're not doing interviews. Every question we've already gotten, and you know we've gotten pretty much
We
any
have
question you can
answered
think
every
of,
question there is to ask, except
Yeah.
when's the new album coming out?
Well, they-
well,
yeah,
I'm sure
they-
he didn't want to get that shit either,
Exactly.
so-
Yeah, for sure.
So there was no interviews done. I don't think so.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't see anything
yeah.
like not even just local whatever. You know,
Yeah,
you'd
but
think-
or even as big as like no Rolling Stone article. No,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you know, especially with the battle with Ticketmaster, he would have been on the fucking cover.
yeah,
It would have been the
Yep.
main story. It would have, you know, like forget it.
Which
Like,
again
what-
is pretty rad. You know, at this point that they're not capitalizing on every little thing.
Every
you
little
know?
thing they could
yeah,
be.
they
Yeah,
could totally
I
like
love
take that
that.
momentum and could have been all over everything. You know, so pretty cool. I mean, I guess maybe when the album finally does come out, he knows he'll be able to just still talk about that just as much. You know, so
Yeah.
why do it now? But yeah, I
but
hope
every
so.
place they left, there was a news article that came out that was like
Yeah.
just glowing about how great they were. So
Yes,
they were
for sure.
getting.
Yeah.
Oh
I didn't
yeah,
read-
no,
getting
they were definitely
tons
getting
of press coverage.
Yeah,
I
they
didn't
were
read
just-
many of
yeah.
them, but yeah, all of them seem pretty, you know, like just off the charts of like, whoa, they came and destroyed our city. This is so
Yeah.
awesome, you know, and glowing reviews, like you said. Yeah, I mean, I guess everybody always kind of leans towards April or October in the past 5 years or whatever we've been predicting for this
Sure.
album. I don't know why October, really. I feel like they haven't really put that many out in October, maybe a few albums, but just because of the Halloween connection, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
But spring, maybe, or I mean, just fall in general. People do tend to put more stuff out at the beginning of like college years, or used to anyway, back in my dinosaur days. But
When have they released the most albums? I thought it was May, wasn't it?
yeah, April and May, I think.
Yeah.
It's, usually the
So-
spring. So yeah, we missed that. Who knows? Yeah. So I mean, really,
Maybe spring.
yeah.
We'll
At this
see.
point, I really don't see it just magically dropping either. At this point, if he's gonna
No.
clearly they're wanting a real distinct plan, and you know they're not gonna just casually drop it after all this build up. You know, so I think
But also, let's speculate. If they drop that album in spring, are they doing a worldwide tour afterwards?
yeah, could be. So he seemed pretty set that they would see us again, at least in the major cities there. So, but I mean, that could be.
But
for
also, he's not going to get on
festivals,
stage and be like,
I've never
"It's been great."
Yeah. Oh, he did before though. Yeah, those disintegration tours. He's all like, "I will never be back."
But he was also, how old was he?
Yeah,
He's
like,
a little bit more,
a little-
introspective and everything now.
Totally.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but like, yeah, I don't. I know you got to kind of take that with a
Yeah,
grain
you
of salt
can't.
too.
That's
So,
definitely
yeah.
not absolute just because he says see you again, see you around, you know. They
Yeah.
say that
I've
to a
said
lot
that
of
to
people.
plenty of people, and I've
Yeah,
never seen them
exactly.
again.
It's like I'm never gonna talk to that person again. I'll see you around, man. So
Yeah, and there was definitely a lot of memorable takeaways, personally and on the larger scale. I mean, even
yeah,
the little clip in Hollywood of him singing to Mary, seems to
yeah,
be something that went pretty viral, which was awesome. And yeah, a lot of positive. Yeah, all the press, social media, and everything else that I've seen was glowing. That there was no like, oh, these old farts sounded like shit, or
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's always the shit talker, always,
yeah, yeah.
and
It didn't.
the shit talker seemed to be silenced during this North American tour.
Yeah, for sure. And almost was waiting to hear more criticism of them plugging because it didn't really seem that apparent until about when we started seeing them of like every other song or every third song was a new song in the beginning of the set of just like loading it with the new songs almost. I could
Yeah,
almost see somebody being like, "Oh, it's the energy drops with these new songs." If you weren't like a diehard Cure fan or something, but nobody even seemed. Everyone seemed so
But
gung ho on the new
yeah,
songs too, which is
yeah.
great.
Well,
So
experiencing those songs live was so much bigger. It hit.
yeah,
It
yeah,
hit.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
My friend Tim hadn't like he's a Cure fan, but like he was like I kind of lost track of him after Wish, and like
yeah.
so he was impressed enough to be like, I want to hear those recorded.
Yeah,
So there's something to be said about that. So
yeah,
that's pretty rad.
Yeah,
So
there is a sense of faith that has been restored in newer stuff, being that at least we know half of this record's going to be good, which
yeah.
which
Oh
is which
yeah,
is a greater chunk of good songs than the last three
yeah,
albums. So
dependent.
totally.
You say
Yeah,
that, but like it's depend how it gets recorded. But at least we know live it's
yeah.
good.
But they've
So
been consistent live too, in the sense that I feel like they're already set. You know, like even if they just had them play that in a room and hit record, it would sound like
yeah,
that at least. So I mean, yeah, I
yeah,
mean, you can always fuck it up somehow with the production if the snare just sounds really stupid or something. Then yeah, that might be enough
yeah.
to throw it off.
I was actually thinking about that the other day as I was just like listening to the Cure like more on a like random thing, and certain songs were coming up that are normally songs I skip, and I was like, man, if this was lower in the mix and he didn't have this effect going on, like this could have been like that. And I was like, I'm like, So I was actually thinking, I was like, oh, let me throw it out to the boys. I'm like, at some point, maybe we should do an episode of like songs that we feel could be saved by like just
remixing.
reproducing and
Yeah,
remixing them. Like the
yeah,
song
that's a
is there,
good.
but I can't listen to it because it's this, that, and the other.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just
Yeah, there's definitely a few I could think of. Not so much I can't listen to it because of it, but I'm like, yeah, that part, it sounds cooler live, especially those later ones. Yeah, everything from like Blood Flowers up. There's definitely a few. Even Wild Mood Swings has a few that would sound a lot cooler live if they kind of changed it up a bit, I think. But
yeah, just some tweaking because
yeah,
it's
it's
not
always
not
a
that
tough.
it's all been shit, but yeah, the production's
Yeah,
been off and weird, or
yeah.
even on some of
And a
the
lot of
wild,
it's just preference stuff, you know, or I would turn
yeah,
that down a little or turn that up. But at the same time, I'm, not a big time producer. So what the fuck do I know? But at the same time, there are just definitely preference things where you'll be like, yeah, he should probably have toned that down a little. So, yeah, I like
yeah.
that. Let's add it to the notebook for sure. Cool. So yeah, I guess on top of that, just with the podcast moving on from here, we'll get back to our bi-weekly. We got some couple of cool episodes I've been thinking are on the horizon. I want to track down a few more people that we sort of talked to and know we went to. So tour talk will definitely be coming up
yeah,
as we talk to these people and hopefully have them on, and maybe we can mash it up with talking about something more casual, Cure talk, but then they can share their experience from their show a little bit too in each one, because I know a few people wanted to share stuff but didn't contribute. On top of that, there is a Close to Me birthday coming up, so maybe we'll do a feature song. We haven't just picked an oldie and just gushed on a song in a while, so Close to Me is always a fun one. So lots of good stuff. So keep your ears and eyes peeled. And
Yeah, I mean, I have Gavin knows, I've been trying to line up. We definitely have some guests coming up that I'm working on scheduling, and we'll kind of get back to like,
Yeah.
some cool
Casual Cure talk and origin stories.
Yeah, definitely.
So a big thank you to everybody that did contribute, and a huge thank you to everybody that listened to it all anyway. So really appreciate it, and hope we did it justice in covering the full tour. And like we said, it'll continue on in some form or another, but hopefully this will be a good bookend to our pre-tour talk. And anything you guys want to top off with the tour with?
No, it's just great. I enjoyed it, and hope one day we might be able to do it again, at least in a smaller extent. But yeah, so yeah, thanks everyone.
We'll go see a Cure cover band or something at least.
I got a Cure cover coming out in hopefully under a month. On a compilation, so that'll be
we'll keep everyone posted for that for sure.
Yeah, I'm pumped on it. I am working with one of the other bands that's on the comp. That is like a little, there's that bummed out, part of us, older dudes that are like, oh, there's gonna be no physical copies of this. It's only streaming. So we're thinking of each taking our 2 covers and maybe doing a split 7-inch on it to put something physical out there in the world, which would be awesome. Because covering a Cure song has definitely been a long dream of mine, and actually finally doing it and pulling it off is, I'm like, it's nerve wracking, when you're covering something you love so much.
Right.
I was like, so
it's always easy to sit back and criticize the Cure covers, but when you actually have to deliver them, it's
well, exactly, because I've ridiculed a shit ton of them, so I'm it's gonna come back to me.
Totally.
Karma's a bitch.
We'll keep everybody posted on that, and I guess we'll wrap up here. Then until next time, we'll be back chatting it up soon. So big thank you, Chaz, Antonio. Always great to yuck it up with you guys and see you again here. And we'll catch you guys later. And thanks for listening. So we'll just say, talk hard. Pause for dramatic effect.
I know, that pause there. I'm like, what's up, Batman?
Where is he?
Talk hard.
All right, again, a very special thank you to Chaz and Antonio, and of course, all you guys for listening. I want to close with a great big shout out to our Patreon crew. They absolutely made all this touring experience possible. I legit saved all I could and put it into a Cure fund. Tickets, hotels, gas, and that made such a difference and made more than one show definitely possible. So I really hope I pulled through and provided some kind of worthwhile Cure-related audio for you guys in return. I'm forever grateful. And as we said, getting to meet some of you guys out there too was an absolute highlight. So I am honored to say the names: Donna, Craig, Jeff Hilton, Jeff Cortland Jones, Sue, Ben, John, Alan, Allison, Dion, Nemesio, Matt, Danny, Coulter, Matt Ford, Tom Johnson, Tom Burns, Letty, John Roberts, Francisco, Jason, Craig Bellinger, and our 2 newest members, Amber and Nicholas. Nicholas sent in a contribution for the Cleveland show, if you remember, and we are very grateful for that. So welcome and thank you both. And the whole crew, thanks so much. Tim is also a wonderful supporter and part of New Waterloo, a company that owns and operates 3 rad hotels, and sounds like that number just increased to 5 actually. So congrats on the new acquisitions in California and Baltimore. More information on those to come. Gonna have to start calling Tim Milburn Pennybags over here. All he's missing now is Boardwalk. But yeah, be sure to check out the South Congress Hotel in Austin, Texas, or the Waymore's Guest House in Nashville, Tennessee, and the Albert in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is still on track to open next month, I believe. And all of which look like a perfect spot to rest up and continue your summer adventures at. And I also promised Tim that I would make a shout out for him. He is searching for a long-lost Cure fan and friend and needs our help. Kelly Soriano. Are you out there? Kelly Soriano. Anywhere over there? Well, Tim, or TJ as you might know him as, Kelly, went to high school with you in the early 90s, and he said that he had Disintegration and Kiss Me already, but he credits you for taking him deeper into the Cure's back catalog and cementing his love for this band. That summer smoking Marlboros and listening to the Cure at your house. If you're out there and that rings a bell, old TJ wants to say hello and catch up. It's been way too long. So if that's you, just drop me a line and I'll steer you in the right direction. And if we can't find Kelly, well, there's always Scott. And he's a wonderful artist, music fan, and guaranteed to make your life more entertaining, especially with his podcast, the Sarlacc Digest. You can catch him and his buddies on this all Star Wars podcast live every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. YouTube, that's where it's at. Or catch the replays everywhere you listen to podcasts. Each week they bring you quality theory crafting and in-depth analysis of all things Star Wars. The Ahsoka series is coming up, so join in. And you can also see Scott's great artwork at the_art_of_Scott_Solo. That's the art of Scott Solo on Instagram. He recently did a stunning portrait of Reeves, and you can check that out at Cure Arts Collab, actually, in addition to his own Instagram page. Yes, Cure Arts Collab is a wonderful new page set up by our dear friend and also a Patreon member, Kate. You know her as CureThreads.com, Kate, and she's also the mastermind behind this cool new page that compiles all kinds of cool Cure fan art. So go check it out if you want to get in on any future Cure art projects, or if you just want to admire the wonderful work that has been submitted. Again, that's Cure Arts Collab on Instagram. And of course, visit CureThreads.com for all kinds of Cure-inspired designs on all kinds of lovely products. And like Kate and Scott and so many of our wonderful Patreon members, Dana is definitely a talented artist too. She is a motion designer and animator, and you can check out her work at graphics.tv. That's graphics with an X.tv. There you can see her motion graphics reel and get a sampling of some of her amazing work. You can also reach out to her there if you're in need of an animator or motion designer to promote your business or project. Once again, that's graphics.tv. Not sure if Lisa is an artist or not, but Lisa recommends that you check out Dickens. It's a super cool venue in Calgary that no doubt hosts all kinds of cool art. Go to dickensyyc.com and you can find out all the upcoming shows and events that they're hosting, including lots of cool trivia and themed dance nights. You can also follow them on Twitch at dickensyyc for all kinds of streaming action. And finally, Chaz, our dear Chaz, is, he's putting 17-second shirts on hold for now. But make sure you go on over to 17secondshirts.bigcartel.com and sift through the rubble and see what his leftovers hold. It might just be a perfect style and shirt and size waiting for you. So go check him out. Help him clear out that inventory. Once you got that all sorted out, you might want to check out his other podcast, the Excommunication Station, where he, Donovan, and fellow Cure fan Chrissy talk about all the trials and tribulations of growing up in the church. Listen everywhere that you get your podcasts. And as for us, well, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, and follow the Holy Hour podcast on Instagram. Like our Facebook page if you're into that kind of thing, or feel free to email me directly at gavinconnor@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, rants, or raves. So that's about it for now. Again, thank you to everyone that contributed to the tour episodes and everyone that's listened to any of these fucking podcast episodes over the years. And more importantly, thank you to The Cure for giving us a truly wonderful past 3 months. Lots of great stuff coming up, so keep your Cure buzz going with us here on the Holy Hour. Till next time.